so our fifth and final determinant of health are our biomedical factors, okay? So the first biomedical factor we're talking about today is high blood pressure. You've probably all heard about high blood pressure being bad. So what is it? So blood pressure is obviously the force of the blood as it travels through your arteries in your body. So high blood pressure is therefore the force measured against the artery wall when it's too high, okay? And generally we're looking at, so if a normal blood pressure is like 120 on 80, so that can go up to like 130, you know, and down to 110, and the other range you've got about, you know, between, what's that, like 90 and 70. But anything above that, so higher numbers, so you're looking at like 140, 150, 160 and above, is high blood pressure, okay? So what does it do? It's going to place excess strain on our cardiac muscle and the blood vessels. That sustained high strain is going to cause your artery walls and your veins to harden, and we talked about that in a previous video called arteriosclerosis. And if you get that arteriosclerosis, you're more likely to have your arteries and veins burst, and therefore, one, you'll be, you know, bleeding out into your body, but two, you're not able to efficiently deliver oxygen and nutrients to the rest of your body, and then you end up with a whole bunch of other problems too. So majoritively, what does high blood pressure lead to? Increased stroke, so that's cerebrovascular disease, coronary heart disease, so heart attack, kidney disease, things like that. It's bad, all right? Examples. So someone with chronic high blood pressure dies from having a heart attack despite being physically active. So things that play into why you have high blood pressure would be more about diet and stress, okay? Side note. Okay, side note, probably, anyway, in the old syllabus we talked about this stuff first. But anyway, okay, so why do people get high blood pressure? Probably should back it up there. So I told you this thing called arteriosclerosis, which is the hardening of the blood vessels. We have this other condition which is more prominent, which is atherosclerosis. Now, atherosclerosis is the technical term for the narrowing of our arteries due to plaque buildup on the inside walls. So if you can picture this, here's a nice healthy artery, okay, sending blood all around your body, and it has all this space on the inside for all that blood to just move through, okay? So think of like a nice open hose, okay? Lots of water, or in this case, blood going through it. Not a lot of resistance, it flows easily, okay? So you have normal blood pressure. If you eat a poor diet high in saturated fats and sugars, and you end up having lots and lots of what we call plaque build up inside your arteries, okay, that's all this yellow stuff. So you've got the same size artery, but now this one only has this tiny section left to send blood through. But remember, the person hasn't changed, their situation hasn't changed, they're still the same size, they still have the same blood requirements. This guy's heart, or girl's heart, is working significantly harder per beat to push the blood through that artery compared to this artery. This is high blood pressure. This excess strain is what's going to end up causing things like stroke, coronary heart disease, kidney disease, etc. All right? This is bad. It is mainly a condition of sedentary behavior and diet, but diet probably plays a larger role there. So, write that down, draw pictures. That's important that you understand that. Positive example of how we can manage blood pressure, you know, regular relaxation, mindfulness activities, doing things you enjoy in non-stressful environments, because we have pretty stressful lives these days, can reduce blood pressure, which is good, all right? And then obviously over time, if you do have arteries like this, it's not all be all and end all. You can over time in a calorie deficit, so eating appropriately healthy foods now, you can start to take this plaque away slowly over time. All right, so eventually you'll probably never end up with like beautiful arteries like this, but you'll make it a lot easier and you'll lower your blood pressure. There are also medications called statins, which also reduce blood pressure. So you can write that as part of your examples too. So that's high blood pressure. All right, so I literally just explained this whole thing, but that's okay. We'll do it again. Second one is abnormal blood lipids. All right, what is it? It's elevated fats and lipids in our bloodstream, contributing to plaque buildup in our arteries. So think of those two pictures that you hopefully all drew. How does it do it? So excess lipids deposit, or they stick inside the artery walls. They therefore reduce the blood flow, increase the strain on the heart muscle, and therefore increase our blood pressure, all right? I guess, why does this happen? So when you eat food, the food gets digested in your stomach, the nutrients go into your bloodstream, gets delivered all around your body, okay? If you have excess nutrients floating through your bloodstream that your body doesn't use, okay? So thinking about eating too much food and not enough physical activity, it just sort of sits there in the bloodstream until it can then get shuttled down to the digestive tract and then go through and, well, you know the rest. But if too much sits around in the bloodstream for too long, then it just sort of sits, and it's like, well, we've got nowhere to go, we've got nothing to do, we'll just hang here permanently until you obviously make some lifestyle changes and make that better. So it leads to obviously atherosclerosis, which we just talked about, heart disease and strokes. Examples: diets high in saturated and transaturated fats and sugars increase our lipids in the bloodstream because you're not using the stuff, all right? And then obviously, positive statins, which we just talked about as well, and healthy eating can reduce reduce lipids in our bloodstream and therefore regulate blood pressure, and then we don't have issues. So that's blood lipids. All right, so our third one is impaired glucose regulation. All right, so glucose, you should know, sugar. All right, so what is it? It's high blood sugars, okay? But we're not talking about someone who has type 1 diabetes and has high blood sugar because of their condition, all right? We're talking about people who have caused this from their diet and sedentary behaviors. So what does it do? It's an indicator, a very good one, for pre-diabetes and type 2 diabetes development. So a lot of time people will get fasting blood tests in the morning. So basically you wake up in the morning, you need to have not eaten or drunk anything except some water for a minimum of 8 hours. And then they draw some blood and they go and test it. And if there's sugar in that bloodstream, and there really shouldn't be because you haven't eaten for 8 hours, all the sugar that is in the bloodstream should have been shuttled away into the different parts of your body. While you were sleeping, usually you do it in the morning. But if there's sugar there, that's bad. It's a really, really bad indicator of what's to come. So how does it do it? So when you consume foods and mainly sugars, your pancreas releases insulin, and then insulin sort of floats through your bloodstream. It finds little sugar particles and they go, hey, you want to be my friend? And the sugar's like, yeah, let's be friends. And then the sugar and the insulin go together into the muscles. And when I say muscles, we're talking about skeletal muscle, but we're also talking about our organs, brain, heart, etc., okay? Over time, if there is too much sugar in the bloodstream, there's only X amount of insulin the body can produce at any one time, all right? And that's going to put strain on the pancreas, constantly trying to shuttle out insulin. And if it keeps pumping out insulin all the time, and it can never really deal with the amount of sugar that's there all the time, well, then the pancreas just goes, stuff it, I'm out, all right? It still produces insulin, mind you, but it is at a severely reduced pace. And therefore you end up with type 2 diabetes. Welcome to the club. I'm not in the club, for the record. But some people are, and that's bad. You shouldn't be in that club. It's not a good place to be. So it leads to type 2 diabetes, heart disease, peripheral vascular disease. So imagine back to the other two that we've done so far. If you've got too much sugar in the bloodstream, then that can contribute to plaque development on the artery walls, and then, it and lipids, blocking off arteries and veins to different parts of your body, and then all of a sudden you lose some fingers and you're like, oh, I don't know why I lost those fingers. All I did was eat Twinkies all the time. Examples: sedentary lifestyle and poor diet high in sugar leads to insulin resistance. So basically your body is like, you're not producing enough insulin, so that's what the term insulin resistance, and therefore type 2 diabetes. However, weight loss programs, so generally people that are in this situation are also overweight or obese just because of high blood sugars all the time. Means they must be eating a lot of bad food all the time. And if you're eating lots of bad food all the time, then you're probably overweight. So high weight loss programs, healthy eating, okay, and regular exercise. Cardiovascular exercise is great, but so is like resistance training as well, are going to reduce blood sugar levels, because if there's sugar in the bloodstream and you're exercising, well, guess what? The muscles go, I need that. And to a degree, it can reverse impaired glucose tolerance. Now, once you are type 2 diabetic, you will never not be classed as being type 2 diabetic anymore. However, you can pretty much manage your condition very, very well, okay? If you completely change your life around and change the way you eat and change what you do in your day, okay? Not saying you'll never ever have issues with it again, but it is good that you can pretty much still live a majoritively normal, happy, healthy life if you make some drastic changes. We have one more to do and then we are done with these determinants videos. Hooray! And last, but definitely not least, overweight and obesity. It is the world's biggest problem, pun intended, but also the easiest problem to fix. Like, this blows my mind, okay? Yeah. What is it? Excess body fat. Simple. What does it do? Carrying excess weight on your body increases strain on all of the organs and the body systems, the muscular system, the skeletal system, endocrine, digestive, nervous, everything. Everything suffers when your body is carrying more weight than it needs to. It also causes inflammation because of that extra weight. So think about your ligaments, tendons, your muscles themselves start to develop and swell because it's got this extra strain that it shouldn't be doing. And it's not exercise, it's just people being people. How does it do it? So fat tissue disrupts hormones because fat tissue releases hormones that will therefore interfere with metabolism, blood pressure, sex hormones, etc. So a lot of the time people get overweight and obese and all of a sudden they feel tired all the time because of these hormonal disruptions, and then because they're tired all the time they don't exercise anymore and they become more sedentary, and then they just become more of a problem. But also excess weight is hard work, all right? I don't know if any of you guys grew up watching Dragon Ball Z, but I certainly did. And something they used to do, and you can do it in real life, it's just hard work, so people don't do it, is used to train with like weighted clothing, right? You put like weighted boots on and weighted vests on and weighted clothing on. It used to make them super strong because then they would take all the weighted clothes off and then life was like really easy because they didn't have all this extra weight. Well, it's the same thing with overweight and obese people, all right? They actually have a significant amount of muscle mass underneath all their excess weight. And if you could just get rid of the excess weight, they would actually be quite healthy and strong people. It's hard work, all right? So imagine like, you know, I am a ripe 75-ish kilos, all right, which isn't very big. It's quite small for someone who's 6 foot. But if I weighed like 105 kilos, like an extra 30 kilos on my body, that would be hard, all right? And I was saying like in the previous video how I find it easy to get 10K steps a day. I don't even think about it. But I reckon if I weighed 30 kilos more, 10K steps would be hard, like, because each step is like almost 50% harder, like body weight to movement ratio, if you think about it. Anyway, what does it lead to? You'll notice most of the conditions we've done in all these determinant videos have like 2 or 3 major things. Guess what? Being overweight and obese, you get everything. Well done. Diabetes, high blood pressure, stroke, heart attack, mental health issues, cancer, insomnia, apnea, you can't breathe at night, okay? Think of basically most of the top 10 things that cause mortality and morbidity in Australia in adults, bang, bang, all right? Examples. Sedentary behavior, such as screen time and snacking and alcohol drinking, are all going to increase or offset your energy balance in a negative way, all right? This is like the one thing that just pretty much every doctor in the world all agree upon, is this energy balance thing, all right? Calories in, calories out, all right? If you consume more calories over, like they say a day, but you can take it in a weekly fashion, over a week's time, if you eat or drink more energy into your body than you burn from your exercise and daily lifestyle, etc., guess what? You gain weight. It's not magic. It's pure numbers, all right? And vice versa, all right? If you eat and drink less than what you burn over the week, then you will lose weight, all right? And a lot of people, a lot of the time, they have these like weird ideas in their head because they read something or maybe their friend told them something at coffee once and they're like, oh, my hormones are out, so it doesn't matter what I diet, I can never lose the weight. No, you're just eating or drinking too much, because then when you take those same people and you put them in like a feeding study into a lab for basically, they stay there for a week and they only eat and drink what the scientists give them, guess what? They all lose weight. Every single one of them. There's never been a single case where there's been a feeding study and people haven't lost weight when they've been given less calories than what they're burning. Magic. Yeah, anyway. I'm quite passionate about this, you may tell. And a positive example, obviously because the world knows this is a major issue, well, there are numerous weight loss programs focused on either diet or exercise, or putting diet and exercise together to reverse this condition and prevent people becoming overweight and obese in the first place. This is the great thing about this condition, all right? It is significant, it causes so many issues in our life, but it's also the one thing that is so preventable. And you know, if you wind back the clock 100 years, trying to find someone who was overweight and obese is like 1 in 100, all right? Nowadays, it's a lot more common, let's put it that way, all right? And that is because of these types of behaviors, right? Snack foods are more readily available, there's more screen time opportunities, more sedentary behaviors, more jobs that are sedentary instead of being active. It's just, life is different these days, okay? We get it. We have created this leisurely lifestyle society where everything is available to us all the time. And if people don't make conscious decisions about this sort of calorie in, calorie out, exercise, diet stuff, well, guess what? You're going to end up in this position. So that is the end of Biomedical Factors, and that's the last part of our determinants videos. Thanks.